As Ameth's banner wraps up and we move closer to the other half of 3.1, many people are looking at Luuk and trying to decide if he's worth pulling or should they just save. This is even more important as a free-to-play player or a light spender since the Cyberpunk collab is right around the corner. For those trying to save, I do have good news because this is another opportunity to stockpile some Astrite. For anyone like me, who is looking forward to a male character to pull, things aren't looking as great because Luuk seems like he might be another character that's a little too reliant on Lene. If your account absolutely needs a Spectro DPS, Luuk will be a solid investment for the future, but if you're free to play and you're already invested in a recently released DPS, or you didn't pull Lene, this banner won't bring much value to your account and you're probably better off saving. I'm Pity Forte, and let's take a look at exactly where Luuk fits into the current roster and what his banner means for you.
Veins exposed. Excision. Dissection. Blink. And agony ends. I bestow eternal peace.
First things first, let's clarify the role that Luuk fills on the team. He's a Spectro main DPS whose gameplay revolves around utilizing the Toon Strain mechanic. For comparison's sake, the last Spectro DPS we got was Zani back in 2.3, who, despite having her own issues stemming from her reliance on Spectro Frazzle, did bring a lot of damage to the table. So much so that at the time and even now, she is still one of the highest DPS characters in the game. However, since her initial release was nearly a year ago and her rerun being sandwiched between Galbrina and Chisa, many players may be missing a Spectro powerhouse. At their bases, Luuk is going to bring enough damage to the table that he is going to be, at worst, on par with her without the reliance on Spectro Frazzle, or excelling her damage altogether. However, Luuk does prefer to have Lene as a partner, since without her, his damage does drop off significantly. But on the bright side, he's not exactly tied to Lene in the same way that Zani is tied to Phoebe. So this does make his team comps a little more flexible when compared to Zani. As of right now, when it comes to team comps, Luuk's best teammate is Lene and his premium team consists of Lene and Mornier. And it shouldn't come as a surprise that this team can easily break 2 mil with all of their signatures, which is a bit below the best Ameth team, but still more than any other team we've seen so far. Looking at Luuk's best free-to-play friendly team with Shorekeeper and Sanwa, a normal rotation will land somewhere around 1.4 mil, which is on par with the damage of other DPS with their free-to-play teams. Again, if you need a Spectro DPS, Luuk will be more than enough. His free-to-play team also has the added benefit of being fairly easy to put together since Shorekeeper is a character that a lot of people will have pulled by now, and one that beginner accounts have access to. And Sanwa is a 4-star who's still considered one of the strongest supports due to her energy regen and her attack buffs. Additionally, Luuk's banner will have some extra value since it'll be a good chance to potentially max out your Sanwa since she'll be one of the raid up 4-stars. Also, Luuk's kit works so well with the pulsation bracers from the standard weapon banner that it's generally being looked at as the go-to option. It's also worth noting that Luuk prefers a quick rotation on his teammates so he has more fill time to himself, and he's also pretty self-sufficient due to his ability to apply Toon Strain on his own. Also, the fighting style that Luuk introduces heavily emphasizes aerial combat, which includes a heavy amount of tracking on some of his attacks that help him stick to enemies that like to move around a lot. These are two very valid reasons to consider since the Spectro Frazzle reliance on Zani essentially made her an echo summon for Phoebe. And with every patch, it seems like we're getting more and more super mobile enemies, so these quality of life elements on Luuk are pretty nice to have for those that care about them. Overall, I think Luuk and his banner can be broken down into 3 ways in terms of value. For beginners, this is a 5 out of 5 banner. It's great to pull on due to Luuk's generally high damage floor, and Sanwa being a raid up really helps here. Luuk works really well with the standard banner weapon, so you save pulls there, not having to pull for a signature, and Luuk will help you clear content with a relatively cheap team as you slowly build up your account. For people that have pulled Lene, this would be a 4 out of 5. Luuk's value is much higher if you didn't pull Ameth, since Lene is his best in slot partner, and the buff that he receives from her puts his damage at top 3 for DPS, top 2 if you have his premium team. And for anyone that's recently pulled a DPS character like Galbrina, Ameth, or even Augusta, this would be a 2 out of 5 banner. Events in the Tower of Adversity will most likely be centered around the Toon Strain damage, but you'll be safe to sit this one out if you'd rather save pools. All in all, Luuk is not a must-pull character, and his banner won't bring much value to most accounts unless you already have the teammates he wants. But for beginners, this is a great banner to get you off the ground with a strong DPS and a great general support. If you want future guides and videos that help you save some Astrite and decide on must-pull characters, don't forget to subscribe, because that's what I'm here for. This has been Pity Forte, and I'm out.